She defeated her. She destroyed her. And when it was all over, the woman left lying on that canvas was not just a defeated opponent. She was her best friend. What is going on, Wrestling Stream Nation? Welcome back to the channel. And if you are new here, subscribe right now because today we are covering one of the most emotionally devastating, most dramatically powerful stories in WWE right now. A story that goes beyond championships, beyond rivalries, beyond anything that a simple win or loss column could ever capture. Today we are talking about Asuka. We are talking about Kairi Sane. And we are talking about a moment so brutal, so heartbreaking, so layered with history and emotion that the entire WWE universe is still reeling from the weight of it. Two women who have been sisters in this business, who have stood side by side through some of the most defining chapters of their careers, now standing on opposite sides of a line that may never be uncrossed. So settle in, get comfortable, and prepare yourself, because this story is going to take you through the full range of what professional wrestling can make you feel. Wrestling Stream is breaking every single piece of this down right now. To truly understand the magnitude of what just happened between Asuka and Kairi Sane, to feel the full weight of it in your chest the way it deserves to be felt, you need to understand the history. The real history. The kind that stretches back years and crosses continents and is written not in championship reigns but in shared sacrifice and genuine human connection. Asuka and Kairi Sane are not just two women who happened to be paired together by a creative team looking to build a tag team. Their bond is something that exists on a level far deeper than television storytelling. These are two women who came from the same world, who understood each other in ways that only people who have lived the same difficult, demanding, extraordinary life can truly understand. Asuka, the Empress of Tomorrow, arrived in WWE and immediately established herself as something the industry had simply never seen before. Undefeated streaks that became the stuff of legend. A championship reign that redefined what dominance looked like in the women's division. A character so uniquely, brilliantly constructed that she became one of the most recognizable and beloved figures in the entire company almost instantly. Asuka is not just a great wrestler. She is an icon. A once-in-a-generation talent whose presence in any building elevates every single person around her. And then came Kairi Sane. The Pirate Princess. A woman whose combination of breathtaking in-ring artistry, infectious personality, and genuine emotional authenticity made her a fan favorite from her very first moment on the biggest stage. Kairi Sane wrestles with a kind of joyful ferocity that is completely her own. Nobody in this business moves like her, performs like her, or connects with an audience quite the way she does. She is special in the truest, most complete sense of that word. Together, as the Kabuki Warriors, these two women were magical. They were compelling. They were the kind of tag team that reminded you why the women's tag division matters, why it deserves investment, why it produces stories worth caring about. The Kabuki Warriors were not just a team. They were a statement. A declaration that women's wrestling at its highest level is as rich, as complex, and as emotionally resonant as anything else this industry produces. Which is exactly why what Asuka did to Kairi Sane hurts as much as it does. Let's talk about Asuka herself in this current chapter of her story, because the Asuka who stands before us right now is a fundamentally different creature from the Asuka we have known before. And understanding that transformation is the key to understanding everything that led to this devastating moment. For all of her dominance, for all of her championships and her legendary status, Asuka has also experienced the kind of setbacks that leave marks on a person. She has been at the absolute top of this industry and she has also navigated periods of uncertainty, of transition, of having to re-establish herself in a landscape that never stops moving and never stops producing new challenges. And somewhere in that journey, somewhere in the process of fighting to maintain her position at the very summit of this division, something shifted inside the Empress of Tomorrow. A hardening, a darkening, the slow, quiet transformation of a woman who decided that warmth and connection and the bonds she had built were luxuries she could no longer afford if she wanted to remain at the top. The Asuka who attacked Kairi Sane is not operating from a place of malice for its own sake. She is operating from a place of absolute, total focus. A place where the only thing that matters is winning. Dominating. Remaining the most dangerous, most relevant, most feared woman in this entire division. And in that cold, crystalline state of purpose, Kairi Sane was not her best friend, her tag team partner, her sister in this business. She was an obstacle. And Asuka does not leave obstacles standing. Now let's break down what happened. Because the details of this moment matter enormously and every single layer of it tells us something important about where this story is heading. When Asuka defeated Kairi Sane and left her in critical condition, this was not the conclusion of a routine match that simply got out of hand. This was a statement, delivered with the precision and the controlled ferocity that only a superstar of Asuka's caliber is capable of producing. Every move, every moment of the finishing sequence, every second that followed the bell, all of it carried the weight of intention. Asuka did not look away. She did not show hesitation. She did not reach down to help the woman she has stood beside through so much of her career. She looked at Kairi Sane lying on that canvas and she made a choice, the most revealing choice a person can make, and she walked away. Not with remorse, not with conflict written across her face, but with the focused, forward-facing resolve of someone who has already processed this moment internally and decided that it was necessary. That is the detail that changes everything. That is the detail that takes this from a shocking moment to a genuinely chilling character revelation. Because we can understand anger in the heat of competition. We can understand things going too far in the chaos of a match. But the cold, deliberate aftermath, the choice to leave, tells us that the Empress of Tomorrow has arrived somewhere psychologically that is darker and more dangerous than anywhere she has been before. And Kairi Sane, left in critical condition, left to be attended to by medical staff while the woman she trusted most walked away without a backward glance, that image is going to live in the memory of the WWE Universe for a very long time. Let's talk about the critical condition aspect of this story, because this is the element that elevates everything beyond standard wrestling drama and into something with genuine emotional stakes that reach far beyond the ring. In WWE storytelling, the phrase critical condition carries enormous narrative weight. It is not used lightly. It is not deployed for minor incidents or routine post-match beatdowns. When a superstar is left in critical condition, the story is telling us something very specific. This was not a competitive defeat. This was not one athlete simply outperforming another on a given night. This was one person causing genuine, serious harm to another person. Crossing a line that cannot be uncrossed. For Kairi Sane, a woman whose entire presentation has always carried an element of vulnerability alongside her extraordinary toughness, being left in this condition by Asuka specifically creates a layer of emotional complexity that is genuinely difficult to process. Because Kairi Sane's courage has always been most visible precisely because of the physical risks she takes, the heights she throws herself from, the barriers she crashes through with that glorious, reckless, magnificent abandon that makes her so thrilling to watch. To see that courage met not by a worthy opponent in fair competition but by the calculated destruction of someone who knows her better than almost anyone. Someone who knows exactly how she moves, exactly where she is most vulnerable, exactly how to take her apart. That is a form of betrayal that strikes at something fundamental. The WWE Universe is not just worried about Kairi Sane's physical condition right now. They are worried about what this does to her spirit, her trust, her belief in the relationships she has built in this business. And that kind of emotional investment in a character is the rarest and most valuable thing in all of professional wrestling storytelling. Now let's get into what every single member of Wrestling Stream Nation is thinking about, what comes next. Because this story is not finished. It is not even close to finished. It is, in many ways, only just beginning. The most obvious and most compelling road forward is the one that leads to Kairi Sane's comeback. And make no mistake, Kairi Sane will come back. She always does. That is the defining characteristic of the Pirate Princess. She gets knocked down further than anyone should be able to survive and she finds a way to get back up. Every single time. But this comeback, if it happens the way this story seems to be building, will be different from anything Kairi Sane has attempted before. Because this time it will not just be about returning to competition. It will not just be about proving she belongs at the highest level of this division. This comeback will be about confronting the most painful betrayal of her professional life and deciding what she is going to do about it. Is Kairi Sane capable of stepping into a ring with Asuka, the woman she trusted, the woman she built something beautiful with, and unleashing everything she has? Can she access a level of darkness and competitive fury that she has never needed to find before? That is the question at the heart of this story, and it is a question with no easy answer. And then there is Asuka's side of this equation. Because a villain, a truly great villain, always believes they are right. Always has a justification that makes complete sense from inside their own perspective. What is Asuka's justification? What is the story she is telling herself about why this was necessary? And at what point, if ever, does the reality of what she has done to Kairi Sane begin to crack that cold exterior and reveal whatever remains of the connection they once shared? Those questions are the engine of this story. And they are powerful enough to carry this narrative all the way to the grandest stage of them all. From a women's division standpoint, from the perspective of the entire roster watching what Asuka did to Kairi Sane, the ripple effects of this moment extend far beyond just these two women. Every superstar in that locker room now has to recalibrate their understanding of who Asuka is in this current state. This is not the Asuka who competes fiercely and wins emphatically. This is an Asuka who will cross any line, sacrifice any relationship, and leave any consequence in her wake in pursuit of dominance. That changes the calculus for everyone. That makes her a different kind of threat. Not just physically but psychologically, because the most dangerous opponents are not the ones you do not know. They are the ones who used to be on your side. For the women's championship picture, for every rivalry currently developing in this division, for every superstar with ambitions at the top of the card, Asuka in this form is a variable that nobody can afford to ignore. She has just demonstrated the absolute furthest extent of what she is willing to do. And that demonstration was delivered not to a rival, not to an enemy, but to her closest ally. Imagine what she will do to everyone else. Wrestling Stream Nation. I need your energy in the comments right now because this story deserves the biggest conversation this community has ever had. Where do you stand on what Asuka did to Kairi Sane? Is this the emergence of the most terrifying version of the Empress of Tomorrow we have ever witnessed? Or is this a moment that will ultimately come back to define and destroy her? Do you believe Kairi Sane can come back from this, physically, emotionally, and competitively, and deliver the response that this betrayal demands? And most importantly, do you think deep down, in whatever part of Asuka is still the woman who stood beside Kairi Sane through everything, do you think she feels anything about what she has done? Drop every single thought below. This is the kind of story that this community was built to discuss, and I genuinely cannot wait to read every single one of your takes on this. Wrestling Stream Nation. At the end of the day, this is what professional wrestling at its very best looks like. Not just athleticism. Not just championships. But real, human, complicated storytelling that makes you feel things you were not prepared to feel when you sat down to watch. Asuka defeating Kairi Sane and leaving her in critical condition is one of those stories. It is painful. It is shocking. It is morally complex in the way that only the greatest wrestling angles can be. And it is going to unfold in ways that none of us can fully predict, which is the most exciting thing of all. Wrestling Stream will be right here for every single development. Every update on Kairi's condition. Every Asuka promo. Every step of this road toward what promises to be one of the most emotionally charged, most personally motivated matches this women's division has ever produced. If this video moved you, if it fired you up or broke your heart a little or both at the same time, please smash that like button right now. Subscribe to Wrestling Stream and ring that notification bell so you never miss a single upload. Share this video with every wrestling fan who needs to be part of this conversation. I am your host. This is Wrestling Stream. And we will see you in the next one.